In this video, I'm going to show you different techniques on how to get your kick and bass relationship right, from transient design, EQ, saturation and compression, and some all-important referencing and analysis to get your bass working in the mix. Check it out. Now, I'm going to play the track that we've got here. And when I press B is the before with all the plugins removed. So let's have a listen first. This is before, after, here bass completely under control. So what you notice in A, everything is under control. B, bass is overpowering everything. Can't hear the clap properly, can't hear the kick. I'm going to move this over to the corner so I can A, B without it taking up the whole space. So let me remove the processes and then you can hear me A, B it. So you can hear exactly the before and after we're going for. Exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through the bass processes one at a time. First thing to do though, before you even approach getting your bass right, is make sure your drums are right, that you've got a good foundation. So I've done the same techniques that I've done before in a previous video. So I'll just play the drums on their own, just so you can hear. Some good leveling and drum mixing going on, just like the techniques I showed you in the Your Love video. Right, so let's get into the bass. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to solo the kick and bass together so we can hear them. First thing I really want to control, the first point of call, is to hear the kick and bass together. And obviously at the moment, I'm actually, if we look at the bass notes, there's a lot that are on the one of the kick. So obviously the bass is going to need to be controlled. So if I got the MIDI up and open now, you can see that there's points, you know, where the kick's going to be hitting. So let's press play so you can see it. That's a kick, kick, kick. So we need to duck the kick at these points. So the first thing I want to use is sidechainer. In this, I'm using the VPS multiband sidechainer, and that's just simple sidechaining tool. Some of you guys may sidechain, use a compressor to the kick. Some of you guys may use Nicky Romero Kickstart or LFO tool. I'm just using this automatic sidechainer, and straight away, this is really helping. See, clearly I can hear the kick now, right? That's my first point of call. So that already put this in a really good position. Let's A-B it just so you can hear where we are now. Okay, let me get all the drums so you can hear. Straight away. Putting it into a really good place. Right, let me get the kick back. My next point of call, I'm going to add R bass to this. Now this is a bass exciter. It's from Waves. I've just got it set to 80 Hertz and the intensity is at 0. I've pulled the gain down -2 dB because when I turned it on, you can see it's clipping here. You see this light's on. I don't want any clipping to happen, so I'll remove this till the clipping goes away. There you go. Okay. Now let's turn this on and off so you can hear what this is doing, and this is really exciting the low end. So you really hear it's bringing the bass to life here, and I'll show you a comparison now if you was to do this with EQ. So for instance, you might think, well, I'm just going to boost this with an EQ. So similar place, 80 Hertz. Let's hear the difference though. It doesn't sound as natural. Look. This R bass just sounds a lot warmer. Now there's some other processes you could use to replay this. One would be max bass, one would be low air. But R bass I feel is super easy to use. Turn it on, mess with the intensity a bit. At this, I'm literally, the default settings working for me, so I'm going with that. You can hear already what this does. I'm gonna turn it on now. That's flat at the moment. Okay, now we got some real welly. Let's hear the rest of the drums. A, B. Okay. So now, before where the bass was overpowering, now we've got the bass under control, we've got some weight, but we need to control it with the kick now. So I'm going to show you two simple processes now to really help you get that locked. So I'm going to solo again, just the bass and the kick. Now what I'm going to do also, I'm going to bring up an EQ on the kick. I'm going to put that over here, close this off, and then I'm going to bring up an EQ on the bass. So you can see clearly labeled kick and bass. So I'm going to just leave this here for now, and we're going to work on this. So this is what I've done in EQ, and I'm going to undo all the processes and show you exactly what I'm doing. So let me show you when I just remove this EQ, how much it puts it under control. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing now. So I'm just going to take these off, all of these processes, and start with the first one. So I'm going to start with the sub information first, and this is going to make sense when I look at the kick. So if I look at the kick now, with the bass playing together, I can see in the bottom end here, there's a lot of bass going on, right? And I've got sub in the kick, so I want to remove this bass so my kick sub can come through. That's the first point of call. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this on. I'll put this on to a low cut, and now I listen just to the bass, and I can actually look. If I look where the sub ends on the kick, if you go up to about here, look, it's about 37 hertz. So I'm going to do that. If you see, I've got my bass set, so let me just solo my bass. Have a listen. So I'm going to go to about where I was, about 37. Okay, let's play the kick as well, so we can hear this together. Okay, so just turn the bass, this EQ on and off, and hear what this does. Listen to the sub of the kick. Listen to how the kick really comes through now. Cool. So instead of keeping this and removing too much sub, because sometimes you can remove too much sub like this, I've changed it to low shelf. Now I'm reducing it about 8 dB, and I'm mixing this to taste. And Q3 is great because you can see this line here of what you reduce now. This is what I've reduced. This grey line that's moving in the back. So let's remove this now and see how this sounds. So you listen to the low end of the sub and the kick, how they work together. Turn this on. Off. On. Now in some cases you may go a little bit more here or less, but this is to mix the taste, and later down the line when you are thinking about your final mix and you need to, maybe you need more sub in the bass, this is where you're going to go. So the bass, we're working in three parts. We're working on first of the sub, then we go to like the kind of mid bass. This is 100 hertz area, then we go to the top bass. All right, so my next cut is at 100 hertz. I'm just using a bell with quite a wide cue. This is to really bring down the bass against the knock of the kick. The knock of the kick really lives at 100 hertz here. You can actually see it around here. But what I do, let me on and off this. So listen to the knock of the kick now. How that really comes through. Okay. What I'm going to do though, I'm going to use a Q3 in an analyzer mode to see why I picked this point. So let me remove this. So when I click this button here, it means I'm utilizing the Q3 as an analyzer. Then I'll pick the bass, be a sugar. Now this is the bass. So when I press play, so BS Sugar 2. So now you can see that I've got the bass playing as well. And you see the red in the background is the bass, and this is my kick. So you can see clear they're clashing, but where it's lit up here, this is where they're really clashing. You see this red bit here. Now this is, look, you can see it's between 60 and 100 hertz. So I've set my EQ around at this point, and I've moved it up a tiny bit. If you go too low, I think it removes too much of the sub. But you can see it's going into 60 hertz, it's going up to 100. So to me, it's always a good point to put it in the center, not right on it, because I feel like this is going to remove too much sub. But you see where it's clashing. This gives you the idea. It's not 100% accurate, but it's a good indication. So you see this red here, this whole red thing, look, it's going from 60 hertz up to about 100. So I put my cue point around 92 to 100. This is really removing the bass to the knock of the kick. Now let me just remove the EQ with these 2 points. Listen to the kick come through. Okay. Next point is the type of top bass I'm looking at. Let me just solo this. Now I'm just removing this, as I feel this is also clashing with the kick a little bit in the top end of the bass. And look what happens when we hear it together with the drums. See how the kick comes through? So I've really found that just by sweeping through the bass, and I'll show you how I found that point. If I make this cue point smaller and I just listen to this, but if I remove this and start again, let's just have a listen. This, you see, this is quite nasal here. I feel like this character of the bass I don't like, hence why I'm removing it here with a wider cue point. Hit with the drums. Alright, let's A, B so you can hear where we're at. Bass completely come to life. Okay, so this is my initial processing on it. So as you see, we are first looking at the sub information, then we're going to look at the mid bass and then the top bass. So that's how I really think about basses, in 3 parts: sub, mid bass, which is around 60 to 100 hertz, and then your top bass, which is about 100 hertz till like 200, 250. If you look at bass in this way, you always can get a good result, rather than looking at the bass in one spectrum. Look at it in 3 different bands and analyze things separately. Last bit of processing I've done on it, and this is just an addition to it. Now I could have done this on the same EQ, but because I got a good few points on it already, I'm putting it on here. So let's have a listen to what I'm doing. Now this is just removing some further nasalness. We solo this on its own. And I feel just like when we hear this with the kick drum and the drums, let's have a listen. Subtle, but it's a decision that really cleans up the kick for me even more. So this is an area that gets overlooked quite a lot, and you may not always have to do this, but in this case I felt I wanted to just clean this area up a little bit more of the bass. Let's have a listen, turn this on and off. See how this just makes the bass come through even more. Just tucks it slightly under the kick. So there you have it. There's 3 simple processes you can use that are a starting point to getting your bass right. Bass accentuation with R bass, side chaining, and then negative EQ. Now this is a great starting point I use all across the genres of house music to techno, and in later videos I'll show you more techniques that are more genre specific for instance, legato style basses, getting the techno rumble right, getting progressive fast 16th bass right. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video and see you guys soon.